What's up, guys? I'm Vader. And you're watching the second episode of Low Frequency, and I'm here today with.
Midnight Natives, yo, EDM producer, hip hop producer, vocal artist, rapper, singer, anything in between, but I'm just an idea. Midnight Natives. What's going on, guys? Very excited to be here with my boy Vader. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure working with you, always doing something for the city.
Yes, sir. And that's actually how we met. Was when we were doing Pop Sucks. Midnight here was gonna close out the whole thing with just like a rave, and honestly, he does events like by himself. So I think if you guys ever get the chance, you should check him out. But do you want to go ahead and talk more about the event you be doing?
So these days, I'm doing a lot of EDM, a lot of DJing stuff. Um, it's very confusing when people look me up or ask me what I do if they haven't seen me before. Yeah, I DJ, but I also make my own music. I rap too, per se. I do a lot of production stuff, and lately that's been taking off more. So I've been more behind the scenes. But last year, my debut as a DJ was in Arizona for Mirage Fest with the Basefield guys. Shout out Basefield. Shout out Eva for putting me on like that. That's the real guy who put me onto the EDM scene here in town. But yeah, you can check me out anywhere in Bakersfield, anything EDM related. You guys have probably seen me, but a lot of you guys are hip hoppers. So, you know, if I'm new to you, what's going on? Midnight Natives. So yeah, that's pretty much the 411 on me. You can catch me spinning. Once in a while, I'll pop up to do a vocal set. But these days, yeah, just catch me more on the internet.
And I was like, EDM, is that like something you've always been doing, or is it like a genre you just kind of jumped into after?
No, EDM is something that I've been thinking about ever since I was 11. So I'll tell you the story of how I got into EDM. So it was seventh grade. Seventh grade around 2012, 2013. And it's very important around those dates because it was the boom of mainstream dubstep. Example, Skrillex, Never Say Die, all that kind of sound in like the big room era too, like Fire Beats, DVBBS, bass shakers, bass rattlers. I forgot their name, but Steve Aoki. It was during that era. I had a friend named Emmanuel who came to school one day. He showed me his iPod and he was showing me some Dead Mouse, and I was like, all right, this is cool. This is cool. But before that, I would always like just be like unsupervised on the internet, and I just came across, like Zed's Dead, Eyes on Fire, their remix. That remix really like opened my eyes to electronic music in general. And ever since then, I've just been rabbit holing into different genres and following it as it goes. And eventually, like at that same age too, I started watching like videos about like festivals like Tomorrowland. And I've just always told myself that I wanted to do that. I want to do that for sure. And the genre that I did hop on like not last minute, but like later on, and I decided like, oh, you know what, I do want to tap in more to this is the hip hop stuff, is the rap stuff. Um, it was around like that era of like emo SoundCloud rap, Little Peep, Little Tracy,
Right.
Big Head on the beat, all those guys, like that whole goth boy click era. That's what really got me to open my ears to hip hop more because I wasn't too big of a fan because around here in Bakersfield in the 661, what you hear a lot is right Future, Shoreline Mafia, freaking just like NorCal music and um, yeah, anything and everything in between. And especially in that era, it was a more tolerable era for me at least because it was the era when cloud rap was taking off. ASAP Rocky dropped his first record. Um, ASAP Rocky, who else? Oh, Wiz Khalifa. I was heavy on Wiz Khalifa in middle school. Drake was coming out with indie records too. So I wasn't too interested in it at the time until it started evolving into like underground and what SoundCloud would become. And that's when I really said, oh, you know what, I could do this. I could do this. And I was really like into production as soon as I got into high school. So, before like, we go more into detail on that. So basically, was I always into EDM? Yes, I was always into EDM, and hip hop is what I got into a little bit later. But I was also just in hip hop as much because I picked up hip hop around the time I started producing. So I started producing hip hop, but in the back of my head, I always knew I was going to do EDM too.
Nice. I mean, so pretty much like how long have you been producing for? Actually, not going into that, I guess.
I've been producing since 2016, 17, like around that era, and the way I got into producing was just like knowing I wanted to do that too. But really, it was a friend. I don't know where he's at these days because, you know, Bakersfield, you meet people and then you just never hear from them again. And then you hear from them 10 years later. They either got a wife and kid or they're absolutely like cooked in life, you know, just straight beans or whatever. But that's besides the point. So I had a friend named Ethan. Ethan, he would just remake beats on like popular beats. Like at the time, like a lot of the Migo beats, a lot of like the stuff that was popping then, like early Uzi too, early Little Uzi, and I don't know, that kind of got me like more eager into like wanting to explore and wanting to like cook up too. So I've been learning to produce, and I'm still learning new stuff to this day because it never stops, guys. I've been learning to produce since like 2017, 2016, and just like anyone else, you know, I picked it up on GarageBand and just and just started like evolving into FL Studio and like learning all sorts of crazy stuff. But yeah, I've been into producing since 2016, 2017, like around that era.
And man, let me tell you guys, like I've seen him produce, and it is the most like technical, like robotic stuff I've ever seen. Like this dude is crazy. Now, don't be humble though. Yeah.
No, thank you though. But yeah, it took a lot of years to learn a lot of that stuff. Like my biggest flaw in producing is actually like mastering. Like mastering is such a freaking, even to this day, like it's such a fucking crazy like concept. Like because I'm more leaning towards into like the EDM style of mastering, but you know, I feel like everybody hits that curve of like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, and then it's like, no, I need this compressor, I need this EQ, I can't just use anything, da da da. I need these specific like high end like plugins, I need Serial, and then after a while, like you kind of become unk, and you're just like, this stock EQ is fucking amazing. I don't know, I'm kind of hitting that curve right now, so I'm unlearning a lot of bad habits as I'm learning like to just get the songs out faster. That's my biggest flaw right now. Producing is the mixing, mastering to just get the songs out.
Man, so speaking of stock plugins, shout out Fruity Reverb. I gotta go on shout out Fruity Reverb too, bro. That's
No, I love Fruity Reverb. Reverb is fucking awesome. Like I've never used another reverb. Like everyone talks about Valhalla, how it's free, or like the Sound Toys reverb. But honestly, I've always used the stock FL reverb. I love it, and to this day, like I still learn some crazy stuff about it. Like especially with like the pre delay, like setting like a specific like time amount in milliseconds. This is like a crazy formula, but like I said, crazy reverb. I love it. I don't fuck all that fucking Valhalla shit. You don't need that shit,
yeah,
bro.
dude. Fuck all that. You don't need to spend money on plugins. That's what they did. Like they try to get you saying like, oh, you need that new Cymatics plugin or whatever. You know.
Nah, bro, you don't need that. I mean, shout out Cymatics because low key, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of my loops, my early loops were like, were their midis, but
He
still,
do be grinding, yeah.
they do be grinding. They do be grinding. So Cymatics, you know, if you ever see this, like, not to talk smack, but like, leave my fucking For You page alone. You know what I mean? I'll buy your shit, but leave me alone once in a while, bro. Your shit comes up like every other ad.
What's his name? John Cymatics.
John Cymatics,
John
dude.
Cymatics.
Every day he's fucking emailing me on his email blast or whatever, bro. It's crazy, but hey, I'm trying to get like that. That dude's like eating dinner with Skrillex and shit. So like, you know, kudos, but like, that's the thing. Marketing. Market yourself, guys. Really good. But we'll get to that later. But yeah, I love Fruity Reverb too.
I mean, so you said you've been producing for pretty much going on like 10 years now. I mean, like, what are you at like right now? Like, what are you like working on? What are you doing?
Right now I'm just working on a lot of solo music. I'm trying to really like I said, I'm almost there to like the stage of where I want to mix and master for EDM. I mean, for the other producers who might know what I'm talking about. So reaching a loudness level, it's always been a thing. And right now, my goal for like the past year was to hit like -2 LUFS on all my EDM mixes. Oh my god, yeah, I see, and that's what I'm saying. So like a lot of my mixes, I want to hit -2, but sound clean and punchy. And so right now, I'm just really cranking out like a lot of original stuff because I finally hit an okay spot, not the best spot I want to be at, but an okay spot for me to be confident enough to be like, all right, drop this, drop this, drop this. So right now, I'm working on a lot of solo music. I'm not really open to like too many collabs or like too many like other things because I do work a lot with a lot of other like vocalists and like a lot of singers especially. I love working with singers just because like there's not that ego of like how rappers have and like that ignorance. And it's not like a street thing. It's just like some of these guys are just genuinely fucking like they're just genuinely fucking dumb. And it's fucking annoying to work with people.
They just be cooked sometimes.
They're just it's just like bro tells me like make me sound underwater. Like okay, I know what that means, but like you know what I mean. You could just say put a low pass right? But anyways, that's besides the point. But yeah, I'm working on a lot of solo music, heavy on the EDM stuff. But I'm also halfway done with my second reggaeton mixtape, and you know, I have like three other mixtapes out already. But I feel like my last two were really rushed and were really bad, and so I'm really taking my time working on this one, both lyrically and just in the quality of it too, because a lot of it like varies. Like I don't know if like you'll ever like if you ever go through like somebody's project, one song's super loud, one song's quiet. You can tell this guy recorded in a fucking room with no treatment, and then one song was made in a studio. You know, I don't want it to be inconsistent like that. So for me, it's more about quality over quantity because these last two mixtapes I made have fucking haunted me for like months. And you know, I'm sure you do this too. Like you'll go and listen and be like, "Fuck, I made this," or some days you'll be like, "Oh, fuck, I made this." You know, like the tone definitely matters, but it's just how you feel in the moment too. Because you can be very proud of something you made, but also like be aware of like the how shit it can be sometimes too. Because we are our own worst critics, producers. Like sure, like fucking, if Skrillex said like this is badass, I'm not gonna listen to him. I'm gonna know like I did this very sloppily. I did this very rushed, and you know it could be like your homie who could tell you, "Oh, this shit slaps," and I don't know. I just find that a little bit more credible because you know it's somebody who doesn't know, somebody who just like because I feel like just regular civilians who just consume music, they're like the most honest people, and they'll tell you straight up. So right now I'm just really working on getting the quality down and lyrically too because you know I heavy not rely on it, but I heavily involve auto tune with my stuff. And you know, sure they say like how supposedly Little Uzi said this right. He said I hit the bad notes on purpose to hit the right note I want, but nah, that shit just sounds bad. Like if you turn off the auto tune and the EQ, that shit sounds bad to begin with. So always do a good take, guys. Like don't rely on EQ or auto tune to sound good. Like sound good raw too. I saw this clip, Ned Spence raw vocals. I was like, fuck, this guy sounds so clean. This guy sounds so clean, and the auto tune just fucking enhances it more. Yeah. So, all in all, like right now, I'm just working on a lot of solo music. Not too open to collabs, but there's definitely somebody I'm working with heavy right now, D-Migo from Texas. I forget where he's from, but he's from Texas though, and he's on the reggaeton wave too with me right now. It's more of like the underground mix of stuff going on. So, yeah, that's what I'm working on right now. And just getting loops out, you know, like behind the scenes stuff, you know. Watch out for this guy too. Me and this guy are gonna get some crazy stuff going out too, you know. Like, hey, this guy's putting me onto some stuff I haven't even heard of either. So, you know, being a producer, it's very I scratch your back, I scratch my back, but very rarely do you ever get a cool friend like Vader. You know what I mean? Because it is very shitty, very shady out here. Like some of you guys know, a lot of you guys might not know, but either way, we'll get into that stuff later. But yeah, that's what I got going on right now.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah. Speaking of putting people on, I know I put you onto that Mac Mini. Like, I want to talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk computer because computer being a producer, like computer is just as important as like a guitarist with his guitar. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's your gear. That's how you make the stuff. So yeah, like the Mac Mini, dude. I don't know. Like they've been making them so much better and they've been making them so much sleeker. I'm very tempted to get a Mac. Because this PC I got right now, it's hanging on by a thread. It is fucking in shambles. But hey, I've made some of my best songs on there, and you know it's hard to let go. It's hard to let go. I don't know if some of you guys can relate out there, but it's fucking hard to let go of like something that like has been with you through like thick and thin, hell and high water. But yeah, I'm trying to level up some computer gear too. You know what would you say like I should be looking at right now?
I'm telling you that Mac Mini because I just recently bought the M4 one, so like. That one, I paid $300 extra to get it like ASAP. Because like, if I didn't pay that $300, I was gonna get it in October.
Yeah, somebody's got bread.
So yeah, so Best Buy, bro, Best Buy ran up on me.
No, Best Buy's always getting me like that too. I bought a sub I didn't need for the truck. I was like, I guess whatever. They be getting you like that.
They do the credit card too, man.
Nah, the credit card, that credit card is crazy. I don't know, guys. If you're responsible, definitely treat it like drinking, man. The credit card is definitely a tool, but also can be like. You know, your demise too.
Yeah. But like, so, okay, if I didn't pay that $300, I would have got it in October. Tell me why. Like, I love it. I'm not complaining about it. It does everything I need it to do. 2 weeks later, literally yesterday, they announced, "Oh, we got this new one. It's exactly the
Dude, they
amount
always do
you
that.
just pay. The amount I just paid is the amount the new one costs."
What the fuck?
And it's not even an M4 chip. I thought it was gonna be like an M5. Bro, they went to M6.
You know, not to get political, but corporations and consumerism is at an all time like shit right now. It is fucking awful right now. Like exactly like how you said, like, oh, I dropped like hella bread on this to get it early just for them to announce a better one for the exact same price that you overpaid. Like that's ridiculous. But I don't know, man. It's a hard transition to go from Windows to Mac because I don't know. Windows over Mac. I'm just saying you can do anything on Windows. Windows, where are my Windows guys at right now? You know, comment down below. You know, share this to your other window computer building homies. You know, let them know. Hey, do you fuck with the new mini Macs or what? You know what I mean? Or is it PC gang till I die?
Drop it in the comments. Mac
Drop it in the
Mini
comments.
or
Let's get that engagement up right now. You know what I mean?
Mac versus PC.
Mac versus PC all time. To this day, is it Mac or PC? Let us know down below.
So what are you running right now? Like for your computer, just the
Fool, it's just a freaking pre-built I bought on Amazon. But the specs for it right now is an i7 processor. No, it's not an i7. It's a Ryzen 5. Yeah, it's a Ryzen 5. I don't know what 9000 or like 700 or I don't know. I just know it's a Ryzen 5, 16 gigabytes of RAM. Freaking, but I got hella memory on that. I got a 4 terabyte hard drive and then a 1 terabyte SSD. All the programs and all the VSTs are on the SSD and it runs so smooth and the vocal processing is so smooth on it when you're running it on SSD. But yeah, it's just like a Skytech fucking pre-built. Like it's nothing crazy, but definitely had some of my best records on there, some of my best loops, some of my best songs, and you know it's just like a hefty computer that can do everything I need. So right now, like when I was looking for it, I wasn't really too big on like all like specifications like that, but I just knew like, all right, is this tanky enough to handle like the programs I want to use? Yeah, so when I'm looking for a computer, that's what I'm looking for. But when I'm looking for laptops, I'm looking for the smallest thing that can handle like crazy amounts of power. Like right now, I don't even know the name of the laptop. I was gonna bring it, but it's like a little hand me down from my homie. It's like a freaking, it's a little white one. I don't know. I'll remember. We'll drop it right here in the edits. Like I post like editing Vader. Like drop it down here. Like the laptop I'm
I
talking
gotta do
about.
more work. Like goddamn.
Just do it right here. You know, quick little picture of it. You know,
Bob.
yeah, Bob, right there, boom. But yeah, I mean, I'm not too much of a PC nerd, but I know enough to know what I want. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, damn, it's crazy.
Hey, JDM out there, man. It's crazy out here. Wear your seatbelts. 661. Wear your freaking seatbelts, dude.
No drinking and driving. Stay home.
Yeah, no drinking and driving. Are you gonna be on that one dude's Instagram page?
Car county activity.
Yeah, you're gonna be on Kern Activities. That's like wall of shame right there. That's like lowest of the low right there. You do not ever want to end up on Kern Activities, guys. That's like that's just social suicide right there. Oh wait, just bleep that out. You know what I mean?
Social gaming.
Yeah, social and myself. You know what I mean?
But, so I know we were talking about like mixing and mastering is the one thing you're kind of struggling with. Like,
Yeah.
would you ever just like run it through like maybe like Ozone or like Lander or something like that, or do you just not trust it because it's like your own process that you want to?
Lately I've been heavy involving Ozone on a lot of my mixes and mastering, but not like the Ozone like 11 or 10 because I do have all those plugins, but I just don't ever use it. I feel like a lot of the presets they do give are really good, but they're commercial standard. They're not gonna be like if you're making underground like Osama Sun Underground. You know, it's not gonna be really helpful for that distortion because it takes a lot of like the harmonics and a lot of like the elements that really make it like chunky and fat and wide but clean at the same time. So I don't really rely too much on Ozone. If anything, I'll pick apart like a lot of the presets in Ozone and use them at separate instances of like the mix and master chain. But I just use a lot of like a mix of stock and like everyone's gonna crucify me for this, but a lot of Waves plugin, dude. I love the Waves plugin. Hell no, I already hear everybody with the pitchforks and the freaking torches.
You
It's
gotta
like,
get on UA.
yeah, I get like, but I love the Waves plugins. They're so easy. They're so good. If you don't got the bread, you know, understand. Waves is probably gonna like no sponsorship or nothing, but no meat writing either. But Waves is definitely like help my like advance my career and like definitely get more songs out there. But so I do a lot of bus mixing for my EDM, and I started incorporating that too with my vocal stuff too. So like I have a left, a right channel, a center vocal too, one pan left, one pan right, and then an effects vocal too. So like crazy reverb with delay with the long tail, and then an octave high and an octave low. So I'll put all of that in a single bus just to tame it all too. So in each channel, what I would run, start to bottom on just like a regular vocal, would be a basic Sound Toys, the radiator, the heat radiator.
Oh,
So that one, that's the first thing that goes on there because the dry mic is like, the dry mic is cool, but it sounds fucking horrible, especially when you're running it through like the Scarlett or the SSL interfaces, the like $100 ones sound fucking thin as fuck. So I boosted up with that.
That one from Radiator too.
The one from Radiator fucking slaps. Like it just adds so much life to the vocal. And then after that, basic EQ, just like cut out everything after 100 hertz. You know, because you don't really need none of that. And then a compressor, but my ratio. Okay, I'll give you guys the fucking sauce. My ratio is -20 threshold, 8-0, and then 8 plus makeup gain. And then I run it through another EQ to get all those little like frequencies out again. Like, because every time you add another plugin, it adds like a little bit of artifact both on the high and the low end. So it's good to clean it up after too. But after that, I do the auto tune, and then I do dynamic EQ, the C6, on just like the regular lead one, and then I would run also a what else do I run on there? That's just because I have it saved, like, you know, template. Always make a template, but I have a dynamic EQ on that, and then I have a another compressor, the CLA2, I believe, the Chris Lord AO one, the C2, and it's just like a same thing, same ratio that I have on the other one, but it's a little different. So I have that, and then I have that routed to the group vocal, the group bus, and then same thing for my left, right pan, my octave, and then my lower octave too. So I'll just put all of that, and I'll just adjust it as I go, and then just send everything there. And then on the on the bus, I'll have another EQ just to clean up everything all together. And then another compressor with a very light ratio, like a 2-0 ratio, but same like makeup, same like threshold. And then another de-esser and a saturator, the kilohertz ones. Dude, if you don't have any bread, Kilohertz got some crazy fucking plugins for the free.
Yeah.
For the free too. So Kilohertz, the distortion, I'll just put on saturate, add 2 dB of gain, and then add a limiter to that and just adjust everything as I need to go. And then my master, when I'm recording, after the fact of recording beats, because I'll bounce the beat out and then record. I mean, there's some people who are psychopaths and record with the beat project. So, you know, that's not me, but that's you. You know, kudos, because, yeah, you're crazy, dude. But, yeah, that's pretty much what I have on vocals. But if we're talking EDM, oh my gosh, this is about to be a fucking video essay. You know, same thing like I did with my vocal groups. I'll do that, but it'll be an EQ, an OTT, another compressor, another saturator, and then a limiter, and then all that routed to a sidechain, and then routed to the master. And then the master is just another EQ to clean everything up again, the 30 hertz to 18,000 cut just to clean all the artifacts before and after. Dynamic EQ. And that one's gonna be the ozone one. So the dynamic ozone one. And I just put it on the low end control. And then a Pultec EQ, I crank that bitch up to 5, and sometimes 2, sometimes 3, depending on how loud I need it. And then another 5 threshold, and with pretty broad like EQ band. And then I slap an OTT. No, I slap a wave shaper. And then I slap.
There's gonna be people that like are writing this down, and there's gonna be people that are like, huh?
What the fuck is this guy talking
Rocket
about?
science?
Yeah, man. You guys signed up for a producer podcast. You know what I mean? So this is what we talk about.
This music, we deep dive.
Yeah, this is deep dive. Yeah, this is real science. I mean, I'm just brushing over it because like I'm just trying to like paint a picture of like how much goes into like making music. Because a lot of people think, oh, you just fucking make the song. But when you get to an even bigger level, like it gets crazy because now you gotta wait for clearances, you gotta wait for publishing deals, you gotta wait for fucking producers to be like, okay, you can use the beat, which is even crazier to begin with. But that's for another day. But yeah, it just gets crazy. So like, if you're a young producer out there thinking about it, definitely do it. Don't be scared of anything I'm telling you, because like in a couple years, and yes, I said a couple years because you don't do this shit overnight. This shit it takes years. It takes years to build your taste, build your knowledge, and build your skill. Just like it doesn't take like 2 weeks at the gym to get a 6 pack. It takes a year plus to get that 6 pack. You know what I mean? So don't be discouraged if you're a new guy around the block. You know, just keep doing you, experiment, keep anything and anything you want. Like just don't be scared. Like we were all like, oh, I don't know where to start, but you know, follow me, Invader, and you know you're gonna see our journeys. You've seen our journeys, and you know you'll come up with us too. Who knows? But going back to what's on the master, right? A wave shaper, and then once in a while, depending on how thin I want it or like how clean I want it, the ozone, what was it called? What was it called? The one that's like the a dynamic EQ, but it's like a de-esser, but it's also like a shaper. You know what I mean? I don't remember what it was
The
called.
stereo whitener?
No, not the stereo whitener. It was the freaking. It was like it's like a blue one, and it'll like tuck it in or cut or shape it.
Damn, I don't think I use that one.
You don't use that one? I forgot what it's called, but if you know what it is, you know what it is, right? And so it's like the it's so like it basically it's like an overall EQ. Like it'll shape it or it'll fucking boost it depending on how you set it up. And that's what I add before. And then after that, I add another wave shaper just to boost up anything that's been taken out. And then I'll add another ozone, and it's the maximizer. I love the maximizer. Everyone's like, "What soft clipper do you use? Do you use the fruity one?" And I'm like, "No, I don't like the fruity one. The fruity one has a lame algorithm." There, hot take. The fruity soft clipper has a lame algorithm. Yeah, look, we're already disagreeing too, but the fruity soft clipper has a lame algorithm, bro. Like that shit's weak. But the ozone one has way more variety on it. So you can do the high, you can do the mid or a low soft clipping, and it'll be like 3 dB, 9 dB, or 12 dB, where it starts to clip. So if you set it like at the medium deep or like the medium amount, like that's how you get like that crispy, like super distorted, like rest and bass or like fucking jump out kind of distortion. So I've been using that a lot too. And with the EDM stuff too, if it's not house music, I don't need it too distorted. But if it's like I'm making dubstep or rhythm, definitely I crank that bitch up to like 80 on the low, and you know I'll crank it up to like 4+ gain. But that's for the EDM. You know, the rap stuff it's a lot more simple just because like it's commercial mixing and it's not really like as complicated as like the EDM stuff because the EDM stuff, oh my gosh, it's just never ending. There's like just you think you do something cool and then you hop on Instagram and you see AU5 just making some shit like casually like in fucking you know like crisscross applesauce going like yeah and then we do this and we set it to this router this macro and then we also put it back to this ratio and set it to the oscillator A, B, and C and then send this to the noise oscillator. Right, it gets crazy, but yeah, that's what I got going on. So just regular guy using FL. I'm using fucking Pro Tools. I'm not. I mean, I want to get into Ableton, but I don't know. I feel like I'm obligated to be on FL just because like
telling me to get into Ableton. I don't know what it is.
Dude, it's because like it's more like intricate production. Like all the stock plugins are way. I'll agree. I'll say this as an FL user. Like all the stock plugins on Ableton are so freaking good. Like all the like the glue compressor on there, the EQ8 on there, the delay on there is so good. The stereo whitening on there is so good too. And like the fact that you could bounce stuff like then and there in the project, you don't have to export it and then load it back up. Like you can literally record your audio and you can just drag it back in like that. Like Ableton is so crazy. I'm very tempted to get on Ableton, but like I said, somebody needs to be the martyr for FL Studio and be like, look, you can do the same shit on FL Studio, and I feel like that's where I step in. Like because there's a lot of kids, and yes, there is a barrier to getting into music, which I think is a good and bad thing because if it wasn't so easy to access to, there'd be a lot of garbage out there. But also, it's at the same time, it's very easy to access this stuff and like learn this stuff on YouTube. That there's just equally as much garbage on there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like not to shit on anyone, but you know a bad recording or a bad song when you hear one, or a bad beat when you hear one. But that's the beauty of it is that you could evolve from it, and that you know everybody has the same opportunity to get better or to get worse. So it's not really to knock anybody down or to like freaking talk smack, but you know, music's so accessible these days, and getting into production is not like a thing in the past where like, oh, I can only go learn at my uncle's house because he has a computer with the setup, or like he can afford a computer with that specs to handle the software. You know, you can fucking make beats on BandLab these days, and like dudes come up on BandLab all the time. So you know, we live in a crazy era where it's both very easy, but also it's like discrediting a lot of like people who definitely deserve that spotlight, you know. But that's where I'm at with production. What I got going on in the mix and master and like how I think things should go about. But definitely like it's just like it's all preference, you know. I like vanilla, you like chocolate, ice cream, you know, it's same shit, different day, you know. Tomato, tomato.
Yeah, because I mean, like I will say, like we kind of like talked about it, but like I don't think people should really get discouraged with like seeing stuff on like social media nowadays, or like because like it's yeah, production. They everyone says like, oh, it's an oversaturated market or whatever, but like that shouldn't really stop you. But like people also are like stopping because they see like fucking like Southside or like some like other crazy producers like even on the EDM side like posting stuff on Instagram and they're like, oh, I'm never gonna get like that. And it's like you don't understand that those dudes have been doing it for like years. Like you got to get your 10,000 hours in, you know.
Yeah, you gotta get your 10,000 hours in, and it's very true. I've been on both sides, so I've been on sides where I've had a video blow up where I'm like explaining something, and I don't think it's anything too crazy, but somebody out there is gonna definitely find it
Yeah.
useful. So it's just like you know, you're just getting hitting fish in a barrel. You know what I mean? This will work. This might not work. I've definitely been the kid looking up crazy stuff on YouTube and just like relying on stuff like specific like YouTube producers like and then there's like looking back at it now, a lot of those guys didn't know what they were talking about. So, you know, it's just like it goes back to like that whole thing of like preference, you know, it's about what you're into, what you want to get into, what you want to do. You know, just because this guy is like has fucking hella plaques, you know, that doesn't mean anything. You know, some guy can like I know a lot of producers who have hella plaques, but I don't know, I can't fucking name a single one of their songs. You know what I mean? Like, sure, like the song you produced has a plaque or whatever, but I don't know the fucking name of it. So it's like it's not like don't be discouraged because it takes years. It definitely takes years, like Vader said. It takes years, and
And plus, people only, like they only post. They're only posting like the best take.
they're only posting what you want, what they want
Yeah.
to show you. Because you don't know, like I don't know if you've seen that picture of a guy who's taking like a picture of his fucking shoes and the flash is on and like everything else is like a trap house kind of like background. But like that's exactly what the game is and like what social media is. And social media is super fucking toxic. It's like super unhealthy these days. Like when Instagram was just white and blue, like that was its golden era. When there was blogs like media blogs or like record label blogs putting people on to stuff they haven't heard or are probably never gonna hear. You know, I feel like that's what's missing, and like, but also that's something that's been amplified lately with everybody having a playlist, everybody having like a all you know all like doing producer contests or like all like watch me link up with da da da. You know, like there's like so many people doing the internet thing and doing like just like the whole internet thing to just in general. Like it's super competitive, it's super toxic, it's super doggy dog. It is true, and it's not gonna get any better. But you know, the only thing you can do is play ball or like you know, because it's very true. You play ball or you get left in the dust. Because the internet does not forgive nobody. Like things are on there forever, and also like you just gotta be in everybody's face. It's definitely like a what's the word I'm looking for? It's like a hit or miss with like a lot of your content. Because like I know for you too, like a lot of like the your when you were starting to post consistently, it was like a couple hundred views here and there, but then you know that one video hits the algorithm and then boom, you're consistently every time you post on somebody's thing. So definitely work on it, definitely build it up, but because it is not easy. Like I want to emphasize how crazy the game is right now. Just because like back then there wasn't like TikTok, like in the era we came up and started producing, there wasn't like Instagram, there wasn't TikTok, there wasn't Reels, there wasn't fucking YouTube Shorts.
We had Looper Man, and then like you post a picture on Instagram once or twice. And
Yeah,
Twitter,
once or twice and that's it.
Twitter,
Like
and then that was it.
yeah, like literally Twitter was the way to like collab back then. Like you would just send like log SoundCloud links to each other and be like, okay, I fuck with you. Like, let me hop on this or like, all right, let me send you beats. So I think it's a very good thing and a bad thing, just like how accessible music is these days. It's a very good thing and a bad thing, the internet, because it's how you handle it. Just like you know, like how I made that analogy earlier. Like it's like liquor, you know. It could be good at moderation, but if you like heavily depend on it, like that's when you start you know being unhealthy and you start like relying on it heavy, and it shouldn't be like that. You should definitely have a balanced life going on, but also like be dedicated and consistent to it to some degree. You know, don't dedicate like like a fucking like you're after your 9 to 5 you're 5 to 9, you know, is that the same? 9 to 5, 5 to 9?
Yeah,
That's the same. Don't dedicate your entire 5 to 9 to it, because it just it's just never ending, and like it's like a drug. You chase it and you just want more. So definitely be careful, but be very considerate of like how toxic it can be sometimes. But don't be discouraged, because just take it with moderation.
Yeah, because I will say, like, I started doing content in March, right? So, like, that first 3 months, I was like, I was sick. Like, I was like staying up all night, just pulling all nighters, like, consistently, like, not going to bed until like 6 in the morning,
Oh
and then,
my
like,
gosh,
not eating, just like,
that's
it got me, like, to being a full time producer, but, like, at what cost?
yeah.
You
Well,
know?
because that's something I've only seen lately too, especially like the person who I think makes a very good example of this is Big Head, you know, Big Head on the Beat,
Oh, yeah.
because he's sobered up, and he's one of the producers I've looked up to, and whose style I very much like and studied for a long time too, and he just recently like talked about how crazy it is to transition from like constantly working and like making beats and pulling all nighters at the studio and heavily relying on substances to like get him through, and that like these last 2 years he's been clean and he's felt like more creative, he's been more like energetic and just like feels like a lot happier. And you know, that's something that producer culture has a problem with right now, is that, you know, it's very work oriented, it's very work heavy, because like, right, you can be a producer, no, I take the air quotes back, you can be a producer and like and treat it like as a hobby and have big placements too, because that's how I see myself right now at that level. Like, sure, I treat it like somewhat of a hobby, but it's enough. I'm in the door enough to like be able to do shows and like have some crazy placements. Um, but it's just like nobody talks about how crazy it can get, because this is entertainment. This is like shit gets real fast if you really want it to get fast. Like it can blow up overnight, and then boom, out of nowhere, this guy you've been working with is like, oh, I need more, I need more, I need more, because now I'm on a label, now I need to recoup, and it can just get very hectic. So, moral of the story is, if you're gonna chase this, you know, be ready to like work,
Yeah.
treat it as work, because it is definitely a job, and you need to have that mindset coming if you want to commit to it and be able to like live off of it, because it is a dedication, like you said. Like you said, there's been nights you've been up till like 6 in the morning working on something because, oh, homeboy has a deadline, or he's in the studio at 3 in the morning and he needs loop from you. Because I've been there too. I've sent loops at like fucking 3 in the morning too, because like they were hitting me up going like, hey, like we ran out of loops, like can you send us some more? But yeah, like all in all, guys, like you want to do this shit. So I wouldn't want to do anything else, to be honest.
Honestly, yeah.
Like honestly, I don't see myself doing anything else. Like if anything, I'd probably KMS if I wasn't a musician. Like not being a musician is fucking boring, bro. Like I don't know. I just knew from the start, and maybe you had this feeling too. Like at some point you realize, oh no, I want to do this shit. Like I don't really care what it costs or what I have to do to get there. I mean, to some degree, but you know, it's just like if you want it enough, you're gonna do it, and you're gonna be committed to it, and you're gonna be consistent to it.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, like, funny enough, I think my moment came when I quit. I think it was petrol. I was working at the old truck stop, like, heading towards LA, you know, right before you get the Grapevine.
Oh hell
Yeah,
yeah!
I was working at that truck stop because, like, I was like, well, it's close to LA, so I can just dip out on Fridays and go to LA.
Oh, okay.
So I was doing that. But then, like, I was just sitting there, and, like, they started putting me to, like, overnights and stuff. And I was just like, damn, this sucks, dude. This is not worth it. Like, I could be home. I could be in LA. I could be, like, doing way more things. And then it just got to a point where, like, I got a flat tire, and, like, the tow truck had to drive into, like, the ravine to, like, get me. So, like, it was, like, it was way more money.
Oh hell no!
Yeah, and then the company didn't want to help me. My managers didn't want to help me. And I was like, bro, fuck this. Honestly, like, I was like, I'm just going to take my chances. And then, like, honestly, since then, I've just been on that grind. So,
Yeah, yeah. There's definitely a moment for me too where it's not that I quit everything too, because remember, like sometimes you gotta be responsible too. Like you can't, like if you know you gotta pay the bills, you know, man up, get a fucking job. You know, don't be those guys on Instagram like fucking DM to work, serious inquiries only. Because first of all, who the fuck is looking at that? Second, I don't know you, bro. Third, you know, be responsible. For me, my moment where I knew I wanted to do this shit full time or like start pursuing it at a level where it's bigger than this or bigger than me was when I linked up with Flexitelli. Like I was 20, 21. This was right after like the pandemic started, and there were like hell restrictions. You had to wear a face mask and everything. So it was around that era. So shout out Flexitelli, but it was as soon as the pandemic started, I would make like crazy like type beat videos on Instagram, just like really quick ones. And I don't know why I had this mindset of like tagging the artist like I was copying. Granted, yeah, you should like cite your artist and be like, oh, like this is like credit them, right? Credit everybody you work with or are inspired by. And I tagged him in a type beat video I made of him, and he DM'd me and he's all like, oh, like let's work, let's make loops. And at the time I was making guitar loops because it was in the Juice World era. Everybody wanted guitar loops. Everybody wanted to be like, you know, Kill Val or fucking Combo.
Nick Mira.
Nick Mira. The Nick Mira era was Nick Mira era was a crazy era. Like, I think that's like seeing those videos too, like of Internet Money, like a varying group of like people like ages like 16 to like 30, just all in a house. That's something that motivated me too. Like seeing those guys live that kind of life is the kind of, and I can see myself doing that too. So that was one of the moments too. But going back to the Flexitelli story, he just invited me out to his home at the time in LA, and to his studio, and I thought to myself like, holy shit, I'm here with my buddy Gabe, with his guitar, my laptop, and I'm in the same studio where Shake Well was recording a song like the day before. Sauce Mula was in there too the day, like a couple days back, and just fucking making beats with a guy who got some like crazy placements, crazy connections, and I was like, damn, I'm really in the studio with a fucking pro producer, and just off making videos online, and I was like, what? And at the time, the video it didn't hit me then, but it hits me now. Like now that I'm older, like what the fuck was I doing in LA at 20, 21, fucking hanging out with like grown men, like just like making records, and I was like, what the fuck, this is crazy. And ever since then, he's been a very frequent collaborator, and I've just been chasing that ever since, and like and it's just I just see myself doing this. I don't know, like you said, you just see yourself doing this, and that was one of the moments. Like sure, like most people say like their moment was like, oh, it was at a concert, or it was like me seeing this guy DJ, or me seeing this guy do this and that. But my moment came after the fact. Like I did it with like somebody way levels ahead of me, and it's like, wow, it's really like if you really commit to it, like even like this moderate amount, like you can make shit happen. And that's what's so cool, and that's what's made me like stay in the game. Just like I like telling crazy stories like this. Like, yeah, I was in the studio with Flexitelli. Like, you know what I mean?
So, what's your craziest music story outside of the Flexitelli stuff? I guess.
Like good experiences or bad. I'll give you two examples. I'll give you a good experience and a bad experience. So, one of the crazier experiences, at least DJing, was my Arizona debut. So when I was in Arizona, it was like a camping festival, and it was just like possibly like the worst case scenario that can happen to me. Shout out 928 vibes, or correct me if I'm wrong. Right here, post edit or whatever. But the guys we did Mirage Fest with, those guys are fucking cool. They're badass. I will definitely like be out there again. But this was my fault. Like they don't know this, but I was gonna play like 140, like this, like UK garage. Like, it was really hot at the time, and I came ready for like a UKG set, but my flash drive wasn't formatted right. So when I got up there, the playlist that I was gonna play, like the original set I was gonna play, it said file error, cannot read. So I don't know if you've played on Dex before, but when you load on Dex and you get that error message, like your music will not load. So I was like scrambling like then and there at the show, like holy shit, like I was like, all right, hopefully maybe it's just these files that are fucked up, because we were playing on some Nexus 2s, some like mid 2000s decks, so they were kind of dated but not really like ancient or whatever, but they wouldn't load like the format I had. But I was just scrolling hoping something would load, and lo and behold, I had to play like a tech house set. Like I was gonna play bass music, but I ended up playing like a house set instead. So that's one of the crazy experiences I've had, where it's like a worst case scenario idea. You know, I've definitely had rap shows where I'm like, I'm literally hanging out with people I don't know, with some junkies, and I think that's probably no. You know what? I don't think I'll talk about that because there was a guy who hangs out with Extreme. Dang, I forgot because this was like a show I did last year for rap. Extreme Trap. Yeah, shout out Extreme Trap for putting me on though. But so I have a buddy named John, and he's a local artist too, and he hangs out with those guys a lot. So there was a show, and he's all like, "Oh, they're looking for another guy to fill in the roster," and I was like, "Okay, I'll do it." I go in there, you know, it's day of show. I'm driving down to LA. I'm just wandering around, getting a bite to eat, and you know, we get a message that the venue canceled on this, and I don't know why, because I'm not close with any of those guys, so they wouldn't tell me why. They just said, "Oh, new venue location." So we pull up, and it's a nice venue too. It's like an underground thing in LA, like over by the fashion district, like a warehouse like that. But it was after the show, so like it's the part of the show where people just party and hang out, and for me, that was definitely like an experience that I'm not gonna forget because I don't try to avoid it, but I'm aware that I could end up in a situation like that where I didn't know anybody, so I was just there by myself. I have enough social skills to network and be like, oh, let's work, let's chop it up, or like, oh, what are you into, like, right, keep a conversation going, you know, but I didn't know anybody there, and it was a scary feeling, like just sitting in a green room where everybody's smoking, everybody's like doing drugs and just like fucking like drinking or doing something, talking to each other, and you're just there like, oh, I guess. But the only person I was really kicking it with was RX Batman. Shout out RX Batman. But yeah, I was just kicking it with that fool, just chopping it up like little by little, and I wouldn't say it's a bad experience, but it's like, damn, I'm really in LA. I don't know nobody. It's kind of sketchy. Everybody's on something right now. The groupies are in here, and I'm just like, what the fuck, you know? Like you're like, no way, I'm actually here right now doing all this stuff. Like I'm just a guy like from fucking Bakersfield, and like I'm in like, you know, like a quote, like it felt like a movie scene. You know what I mean? Just like fucking people passing around, like going like, hey, let me get some, or like, oh, what's up, man, and just like saying like, you know. But it's definitely like a time where it opened my eyes, and I'm like I'm gonna have to deal with a lot of situations like this if I pursue it more consistently. But I wouldn't say it was a bad experience, but it was definitely like I did feel scared because I was like, I don't know, like what the fuck, what am I doing here? Like I don't know nobody, I don't know like what the fuck I got myself into. But don't get me wrong, everybody was cool. I had a very good time at that show. It was a very good show. We'll do it again. We'll hang out with all of you guys again. Um, Made some very good friends at that show. But you know what I mean? Like it's just a scary moment to like just really be on your own like that. And when you put it to perspective, there's guys who like move from the Midwest with no money, but just hopes and dreams and fucking make it happen out there. And that's what made me realize that too. And that's why that moment stood out to me because I seen a lot of guys there, literally like just saying like out loud like, "Oh, I don't have any fucking money. I used all my money to get my apartment in Glendale. Um, I'm just gonna make it work." And so that's one moment where I was like, this is crazy. I can't believe I'm fucking really doing this shit here with people, like-minded people, risking even more than me, you know? Because we live like what, an hour and a half outside of LA, but fucking these guys are fucking from the Midwest, from New York, doing the same shit I'm doing.
Country, dude.
That, you know, land of opportunity. Whoever said the American dream is dead, they're fucking wrong, you know? But this shit is fucking badass. Like I said, I would not like fucking change anything I'm doing. Like I love how my life turned out. Like yeah, so pretty much like that's some of the crazy experience I've had thus far in music. But if we're speaking like when I'm playing live, I think one of the crazier moments that I enjoyed thoroughly, where I was actually like high on life in that moment, was playing Merry Bassmas for my buddies collective. Shout out Basefield again. Basefield. So we did a Christmas drive show, or a toy drive show, and it was my first like time playing in town as a dubstep DJ, and it went so good. It went perfect. Like my set, my transitions. I had a really good crowd going. My homie Vulgar from Fresno pulled up and he saw a little bit of my set before he was on, and so, and then, oh man, like everybody was dapping me up. Everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't fucking know you could throw down like that," or like, you know. And I live for those moments more, to be honest. Like those moments of like, oh, I made you have a good time. I made you forget all the bullshit you got going on, and I'm glad I made you like feel some type of way, like a good way. 'Cause that show was crazy. That show it was fucking lit. Some ratchet shit happened afterwards, but that's for another day. I got hella groupie stories too, but no, it was
That's for the Patreon podcast.
that's for the Patreon podcast. But yeah, I got hella crazy stories about groupies too. But fuck it, nah. But like all in all, like yeah, I love doing this shit. Like that show was one of the moments I was like, oh man, I can't believe I'm doing this like in a good way.
Yeah, hell yeah. So where can the people find you, and what's next for Midnight Natives?
You guys can find me anywhere. My name's the same on everything. Midnight Natives, MIDNIGHTNATIVES. Find me on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, Teaser. I think that's what it's called. I'm really big on Teaser. Um, freaking any platform. I'm on everything. I even have a Hey Space. It's the same thing. Midnight Natives. I'm really heavy on SoundCloud these days. Instagram, Midnight Natives. No Facebook yet, so I'm working on that. I know Facebook's big. Everybody's sleeping on Facebook.
Facebook, really?
Facebook is still fucking huge, dude.
Man.
Like, especially in the rave scene. Like, because think about it. It's a lot of 30-plus-year-olds who, like, have kids. I'm like,
I didn't think about that.
because, yeah, the rave scene heavy relies on Facebook. So, working on Facebook. I just got my Twitter back. So I'll shout that out next time because I'm still working on like getting the handle for that because somebody else has my handle and you know how it goes. You got to be like, all right, what kind of deal can we strike to get my handle?
Yeah.
That's how rappers be getting their handles exactly the way they are. They be paying somebody like, oh, let me buy your handle. Five bands for the handle. Yeah, like look it up. A lot of your favorite rappers have some crazy like handle stories. But yeah, my name's the same on everything. I don't really have any shows lined up right now. Like I said, I'm really heavy working on solo music right now. I'm working on another EP for EDM, a lot of singles for EDM too. A lot of behind the scenes stuff, a lot of co-producing coming up too. I have a song with Ouija Mac that's out right now. Zombie Walk In on his latest album, co-produced with Flexitelli too. So go ahead and run that up for me so I can get paid. We can get paid, because shit's expensive out here, bro. Please, like, if you're gonna commit to music, just know you're gonna spend a lot of money on stuff you probably don't even need, but realize you're thankful you bought that either way. So I have that and Reggaeton mixtape gonna be out soon. I'm still writing it, but it's gonna be out soon. So yeah, if anybody's confused again, once again, I'm a producer, singer, artist, vocalist, whatever you want to label it, DJ. I do a little bit of everything. But these days, it doesn't feel as crazy of an idea to do a little bit of everything. So, thank God I was born when I was born to live all this. But that's all I got going on. So, again, if we're wrapping this up, thank you, Vader, for having me on here, for letting me talk about, the issues we got going on. Just like little nerd out a little bit too, yeah. And just like share a story or two. And I hope anybody who's watching this out here was either entertained or found some insight on how they want to move, or what your next step is. Shout out my boy Vader. Follow him on all his social medias. He's got music coming out too. He's got a lot of prod credits too, so run those up for him too. Yeah, that's all I got going on, man.
Yeah. I mean, that's Midnight Natives. Your wonderful guest. Shout out Midnight. Thank you guys for tuning in. This has been the second episode of Low Frequency, and I'll check you guys on the next one.
La medianoche, baby. Ow.